Hey, what is up everybody, and welcome back to the SBL. Yes, I know Season 2 didn't finish, and yeah, SBL Season 2 straight up died. I'll just be honest with you guys. And to be honest, I have only myself to blame for that. You see, we started up SBL Season 2 at a really awkward time for a lot of people because a lot of people were still in school at that time, and around the time when Season 2 was going on, especially around the time when it died, a lot of schools were doing like midterms, finals, projects, papers, what have you. And the interest kind of seemed down at that point. Well, not necessarily the interest, but just the overall drive, because real life comes before Pokemon. So it just kind of died out due to some other drama as well, but we won't get into that. But yes, we're rebooting it now because I wanted to reboot it personally, and there was a little bit of a demand for a restart, so I wanted to restart it, so we restarted it back up. Also, I apologize right now if my voice sounds a little scratchier than usual. I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold myself. It wasn't too bad, it was just like one day, but I'm not 100%, but I wanted to get this out for you guys anyway, so anyway, let's keep up with this. So I'll adjust the logos on the screen. First, our new SBL logo, once again made by Yashu. That's a Celesteela there. To be honest, I don't like Celesteela, but I gotta admit the logo itself is pretty clean, so very well done, Yashu. And then my logo there for Diancie United. That was made for me by a friend of mine in another league. I don't know if she really would want me to say her name over YouTube like that, so she will remain anonymous, except to those who already know. And anyway, Season 3. Yeah, this is an interesting team, I gotta admit. I had the third overall pick in the draft, which is tied for my highest of all time, actually. Amongst my other leagues, too. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with my first pick. Oh, and before I do that, there was no franchising this season because last season died out, so I didn't really see a point. And spoilers right now, this is the first SBL season where I don't have Mega Aggron. What? I wanted to try something else, okay? So anyway, let's debut our first pick, which is a really fast Pokemon, and one I really feel fits my style just almost perfectly. That Pokemon is Tapu Koko. Now, Tapu Koko, this thing is really fast at 130 speed. It gets access to both Volt Switch and U-Turn, which is a plus. And its Volt Switch is Thunderbolts, Wild Charges, Thunder Punches, what have you. Those are powered up by its ability, Electric Surge, which increases the power of all its electric moves and prevents it from sleeping, which that second part could end up being very useful. But what I really like about Tapu Koko is not only is it really fast and gets a lot of momentum, but it also has really good support options. I mean, look at its support move pool. Dual Scream, Defog, Calm Mind, Taunt, probably some other moves I can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, I felt like Tapu Koko was a very good first round pick, and I'm really excited to see what it can do for me. Like, even if I want to, I can run a Choice Scarf set. Yes, I know, 130 speed Pokemon with the Choice Scarf, what? That's just to outpace other Choice Scarfers, if I could words. Hey, I still can't words after all this time. And also that Fairy typing being immune to dragons, always something useful to have. So yeah, Tapu Koko, pretty easy mon to explain. Now, my plan going into this draft, believe it or not, I actually wanted to do a bit of a meme draft, in which my entire team would have a switching move, which the switching moves are U-Turn, Volt Switch, Baton Pass, and Parting Shot. But the Mega I wanted, which was actually Mega Beedrill, ended up getting sniped in round 1. But you know what, that is totally okay, because I ended up going a different direction, kind of reworking a plan I had for another league, but I didn't end up going with because I ended up going with a completely different idea. And Tapu Koko was part of that plan, as was my second pick, which is the Mega of the team, Mega Gallade. Yes, Mega Gallade is actually something I've wanted to try for a very long time, because, oh shoot, how long ago was it? Like maybe roughly about a year ago or so, It was between SBL Season 1 and 2. Actually, it was during SBL Season 1 because that went on for so long and playoffs were still happening at that point. A few of us in SBL and not in SBL, actually, did a mono-type tourney. And I had the Psychic type, and I actually won with it. And regular Gallade was the star of that team, so I figured, hey, maybe Gallade's gotta be pretty good, right? Now, you look at its ability, Inner Focus. And you might not think that's such a great ability, but when there's stuff like Jirachi and Togekiss floating around, it's a useful ability to have. Also stops it from flinching from stuff like Fake Out, which, to be honest, I've fallen for before. But it's got that 165 base attack, which hits like a truck. It's got reasonable bulk too, 68 HP in great, but 95 defense and 110 to depth. Pretty good on itself. And it's got that 110 speed here. And it gets setup options like Bulk Up and Swords Dance. Really good coverage options like Stab, Close Combat, Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt. And also options like the Elemental Punches, and even the priority option like Shadow Sneak. Yeah, I think Mega Gallade is going to prove to be pretty useful. And also the fact that it's a Psychic type that's not weak to knockoff, also very handy. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to be trying out Mega Gallade. As it and Tapu Koko, this is the first time I've drafted either of those. So let's just see how they do. Now my next pick is something I have drafted before. Well, actually I've never actually drafted it. I picked it up in free agency in SBL Season 1, actually. And I inherited it on a team that I was a replacement for back in this other league called the BDL, back in Season 1. And to be honest, I didn't do great with it the first 2 times I had it, but I'm hoping third time's a charm, so welcome back to Diancie United, Hydreigon. Oh yeah, the big 3-headed dragon is back with Diancie United, boys. Yes, it has that massive, massive fairy weakness, but don't worry about it. What I like about it, one thing I like about it, is its ability to levitate, which in tandem with Tapu Koko means that it's not going to be hit with those ground attacks that Tapu Koko hates. So that's some pretty good synergy right there. And it's got a really balanced stat spread too. Yeah, its main stat is its special attack at 125. It's got a nice 98 speed here, which you never know when you can need to outspeed those base 95s and below. And it's also got reasonable bulk too in 92, 90, 90. Which, if you guys remember my battle with Arctis from SBL Season 1, I ran a pretty physically bulky Hydreigon to take out on his Entei, and that worked. It worked very well in the regular season. It did not work in the playoffs because I let my Hydreigon get too low and then he crit me, but it's okay. He prepped better than me in that game anyway. And Hydreigon gets so many useful options too. He gets the Draco Meteor, it gets Dragon Pulse, it gets Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Flash Cannon, Earth Power, even physical options like U-Turn, Iron Tail, Dragon Rush, Crunch. So yeah, Hydreigon is a good versatile mod, and I'm pretty happy to be using it again. Okay, so pick number 4. I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. I kid you guys not. I got a round 4 Landorus. Yeah, this Pokemon, the most overused thing in Smogon OU these days. And for good reason, too. Its ability Intimidate is pretty stupid, if I'm going to be honest. Especially on a mon like Landorus, because in some instances, it could even be allowed to live, like the Ice Shard it's 4 times weak to. There's a couple 4 times weak mons in my team, but don't worry about that for now. It's got reasonable bulk with 89, 90, 80, but it's that 145 attack, 105 special attack, and 91 speed that really sets Landorus apart as just one of the best mons in the game, honestly. And this thing can be used in so many ways too. You could use it defensively with like Stealth Rocks, and then Hidden Power Ice for other Landos, but that's not really a thing in League format, so forget I just said that last part. You can run it with a Choice Scarf, potentially, or run with like U-Turn, Earthquake, whatever other move. You can run setup options, including Double Dance with, Swords Dance and Rock Polish. And with Z moves, this thing's even stronger. And I'm just going to spoil it right now. We were allowed to choose one Z captain at the end of the draft, and this Lando here is my Z captain. I don't want to Z fly some fools. So yeah, Lando-T's a really strong mod, and I'm looking forward to using it. Well, I have drafted it before, but the league I drafted it in, I ended up leaving after a couple weeks because I didn't really like the environment of the league it was in. And I only brought it to one game because I'm dumb. No, I'm just kidding. I'm looking forward to seeing what Lando can do for me this time around. But the next Pokemon I drafted is something I'm very familiar with. I did finish the season with that before. And I'll just show you guys what that is now. Pick number 5 is the Ultra Beast Squid thing known as Nihilego. Now, I had this thing in another league before, and through 9 games out of a 10-game season, I brought it to... I only didn't bring it to one game because it didn't have a great matchup, but regardless. In those 9 games, it picked up 14 kills for me. That's awesome. Because what Nihilego is, it's a pretty fast, at base 103 speed, revenge killer. Primarily on the special side. Yes, I know its physical stats are absolutely rubbish, but don't worry about it. It's got a very good special bulk, like its highest stat, special defense. Like, what? Oh yes, and it gets that lovely ability known as Boosh, Boosh. Which, if you don't know what that does, every time it kills a mon, his highest stat goes up by 1. Which most of the time is special attack, but I think once I even ran a speed boosted nature on my Nihilego, so that was really cool. Of course, granted, I misclicked in that battle and it didn't work out, so yes, my memory's that good. I'm not looking any of this up right now. It's just going off memory. Yes, it has a stupid weakness to ground, but I have 2 ground immunities already, so... Well, that's a start. Spoilers, I get 2 more later, but we'll get to those when we get to those. And Nihilego gets a lot of cool options, like Stab Power Gem and Sludge Wave, it gets Thunderbolt, Grass Knot, Dazzling Gleam, Size Shock even, In Powers, whatever. The only move that it doesn't get that I wish it got was its own greatest weakness, Earth Power. But you know what, that's okay, Nihilego's a great guy. Looking forward to using it again, and I think it's going to do some work. Alright, moving on to pick 6. Figure I might as well start getting some bulk. Because, you know, bulk's always a good thing to have, and my style is bulky offense, so... Introducing the first of our walls, Porygon 2. Now, this is a Pokemon I've actually never drafted before, but I've seen it put in some work, and it's caused me a lot of problems in the past. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this thing can do for me. Now I know it's 85, 90, 95 defenses might not look the best on paper, but because it can evolve into Porygon Z, it can make use of the Iron Via Violite, which with it, Porygon 2 becomes one of the bulkiest mons in the game. And unlike a lot of walls, it's not super passive either, because it gets that base 105 special attack. But what I really like about this mon is its abilities, particularly Tricks, which copies the ability of the opponent, which that can lead to some shenanigans, learn the words. And I'm looking forward to abusing that and maybe Analytics. I don't know if I'm going to run download. Actually, I might because I have seen some niche download sets before. And Porygon 2 just gets so many weird options. It gets Bolt Beam coverage, Thunderbolt 90. It gets Tri-Attack Stab, it gets Shadow Ball, probably Psychic. It gets Recover, so that's nice to have some reliable recovery. Which the only other mons on my team that got reliable recovery were Tapu Koko with Roost and Hydreigon with Roost as well, so reliable recovery is always good. Now the thing about this Porygon 2 here, and much like I think all my other walls actually, is that it's weak to knockoff and that if it loses its Eviolite, then it becomes significantly weaker defensively. But you know what? Porygon 2 is a nice guy anyway. We're going to put in some work with him. Speaking of walls that are weak to knockoff, let's go move on to pick 7 because, well, I started building my Firewater Grass core with this next pick because I had 2 of my Fairy Dragon Steel core going with Koko and Hydreigon. So let's start building our Firewater Grass core, starting with the water type, Jellicent. Now, this thing is a mod I've only had one other time before, and it wasn't part of a great team, so it didn't really do that well, but Jellicent itself was probably the star of that team, and I'm looking forward to be able to use it again. It gets two really good abilities of Water Absorb and Curse Body. Water Absorb to, switch into those water types like every single time. And then Curse Body to potentially disable a move. Damp is not useful at all, let's be honest here. It's a really good special wall, but at the same time, if you invest in its defense and run like Will-O-Wisp or bank on Scald Burn, this thing can take some physical hits pretty well. And similarly to Porygon 2, this thing gets Recover, so it gets its own natural recovery. And if it needs to, it can get off a slow Taunt, which Taunt is one of my favorite moves in the game to run. And Jellicent itself isn't that bad offensively. 85 special attack doesn't look that great, but if you invest in it, it could do some damage. This thing gets options like Hydro Pump, Scald, Surf, whatever water move you could possibly want to run. Even gets Water Spout, I think, which is awesome. You get Stab Shadow Ball or Hex, depending on which route you want to go. I think it gets an Energy Ball. I know it gets Ice Beam. And I've seen it use Sludge Wave, if you remember Angel's Jellicent using Sludge Wave with the Jellicent on my Togekiss last season, which is cool. What other weird options did we get? I think I already brought up Recover Will-O-Wisp. Yeah, regardless, I'm looking forward to using Jellicent again. I think it's going to put in some work. Alright, and with picks 8 and 9, I ended up finishing out my Fire Water Grass Core and my Dragon Fairy Steel Core, but first we'll get to the Fire type, and I had to make a very valorous, if you will, pick with my next pick, which is Moltres. Now, Moltres is actually something I've never used before. I've only seen it used, but I figured that it would be a pretty cool option to try out. Alright, yeah, and I said Valor, of course, because it's the leader of Team... I think it's the leader of Team Valor, or at least the mascot Pokemon of that team in Pokemon Go, which I don't actually play myself, so why am I referencing that? What's really cool about Moltres is that if I really wanted to, I could run it with Heat Fog, but considering this thing is 4 times weak to rocks and spoilers my only rock weak mon, I don't really think that would be the best option for my Moltres. Yes, I said that Moltres is my only rock weak Pokemon, and it's 4 times weak to rock, but that 4 times weakness would probably make people want to run Stealth Rock just in case they look at their team and be like, oh hey, Moltres could do some work to me. And Moltres is pretty much just a really good special attacker. I mean, it's got that 125 base special attack. And actually its bulk isn't that bad either, 90, 90, 85, and that base 90 speed could prove to be useful in some instances. Like, if I wanted to, I could run it with a Choice Scarf, or... Like, if I had made this my Z-Captain, I could have pulled some Z Sunny Day shenanigans. I was trying to put 2 words together. But alas, it's okay. And it has 2 very useful abilities. Pressure, which, it kind of puts the quote-unquote pressure, if you will, on stall teams, because it makes them use their PP twice as fast. And then there's Flame Body, which can land a pretty clutch burn if it has to. Hey, I could actually make use of my name for once. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what Moltres can do. And my next pick. My next pick. I can't even talk seriously about this thing. I'm just gonna go to it right now. The next pick that I ended up picking, my next pick. I picked Ferroseed. Yes, this is half a meme pick, half not. I mean, I didn't have enough points for Ferrothorn, and it was already gone, which, if you guys don't know, like, back in 5th Gen OU, Ferrothorn and Jellicent had, like, perfect synergy with each other. So I kind of wanted to bring that back, but I couldn't fully bring it back, so here, have a ball with spikes on it. Ferroseed. That being said, as much as I'm laughing about it, this thing could actually be pretty useful. Like, its HP isn't great, but that 91, 86 bulk in defense and special defense, respectively, coupled with its pretty useful grass steel typing, with the fact that it can use the Eviolite because it can evolve into Ferrothorn, I think it can take a few hits. And it even gets, not really reliable recovery, but somewhat useful recovery with Leech Seed, which I like to have in pretty much all my grass types. So that's the thing. And that base 10 speed. Oh yeah, super slow right here. Brought the speed down on my team significantly. But yes, that base 10 speed is useful for the move Gyro Ball, which, even though it comes off with base 50 attack, which, yeah, it's not that great, but hey, Swallow made use of base 50 special attack in 6th gen before they buffed it up in 7th gen. So hey, why can't Pharisee do the same? The Gyro Ball is a useful move in that it punishes those slower foes, like I said Mega Beedrill got sniped, and yeah, that's a really fast thing. Let's see what else is fast that was drafted. I think, did Mega Absol get drafted? I think it did. What else is fast? Regardless, looking forward to seeing what Pharisee can do, and it gives me hazard stacking options should I choose to do so. It gets both Stealth Rock and Spikes, but to be honest, my only removers are defoggers, so maybe not. I might do it once if like... Oh, well, I'm not gonna spoil anything, so... Pharisee, you little weirdo, welcome to the team. Alright, now, moving on to my last two picks. One thing I wanted was another ground immunity, because you can never have too many of those. And I ended up getting... Well... I was trying to think of some other way to say it, but... brain fart, so... Let me just go to what my 10th pick is now. That pick is... Diancie, which is the thing I've used... It's actually the thing I've used the most on this team, believe it or not. And this thing is so useful. Yes, it's pretty passive with only base 75 in each offensive. Each of its offensive, excuse me. But that 75, 130, 130 bolt. That's some good bolt right there. And it gets Stealth Rock, which makes it my 4th Stealth Rocker. And probably my most reliable one outside of Pharisee, believe it or not. And it gets so many useful support moves too. It gets dual screens, it gets Yawn, it gets U-turn, knockoff, Side Shock. It gets like Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. What else does it get? It doesn't get Ice Beam, I know that because only Mesper gets that in the Lake Trio. This thing gets Memento in case I want to try some setup shenanigans, but I think there's a Ditto somewhere in the league, so... Probably ain't gonna have to be like that. And like I said, it gives me that extra ground immunity with the Levitate ability, which, you know, is super useful for things like Coco and Nihilego. That's cool. And yes, Diancie is another one weak to knock off, but don't worry about it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Diancie can do for me again, and yeah, that should be fun. Alright, now for my final pick. I only had one lower tier mon left, so I went for another total meme on this one. I went with Gorobus. Yes, I'm gonna smash all over everybody's faces. That's all Gorobus is really gonna do for me. And before anyone asks, no, smash passing is not allowed, so I can't pull out those shenanigans. So, ripperoni, but you know what, I wanted Gorobus anyway. This thing's really freaking weird. It's pretty slow on the original, but if you get a Shell Smash, it can outspeed, like, some really weird stuff. It also has respectable bulk. 55 HP is not great, but 105 defense and 75 special defense is alright. And its offense, well, 84 attack, I mean, that's okay, but that's not really what you're going to be using as a Gorobus. With that 114 special attack, once it gets Shell Smashed up, yeah, that's useful. Now, while Smash Passing is allowed, the official rule on that is that I can't pass speed plus another stat. But if I wanted to, I could pass off just an agility something, because Gorobus does learn that. It also learns some funky options like Barrier and Amnesia, which, hey, whoever thinks to run those moves. Gorobus could run both of those and like pass it to one of my walls, and then that becomes an intangible force field. But Gorobus is mostly just a meme, and it probably will not come to a lot of games, especially because I have a Jellicent, and that will probably end up coming to a lot of games knowing me. But we'll see how this does. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my team for SBL Season 3. I'm really looking forward to this team, seeing how they do. And I hope the season doesn't die out this time. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys for Week 1.